So it seems like Kevin Ward Jr. is back in the news. A little bit of an article was put out by USA Today. Apparently it's about Kevin Ward Jr.'s family still being off track. Of course, for those who don't know it, there was a little bit of an incident, a pretty significant incident actually, where Kevin Ward Jr. was struck by a car, or a sprint car, which is not like a car, even though Wolf Blitzer thinks you're out there shifting gears, by a sprint car on the speedway and was killed. According to this article, there's a lot of things going on that most people just aren't seeing. Now, as the article points out, quotes from Kevin Ward Sr., in my opinion, Kevin Ward Jr. was the type of racer that we need in the dirt track racing world. Quote, racing in the world of outlaws was his ultimate goal. He liked sliding around on the dirt, had no NASCAR ambition. Of course, in the article they talk about the cost of racing, which most people are oblivious to, as well as talking about how they wanted no money from Stewart, which is something that I think a lot of people do assume, that the family wanted a lot of money out of their son getting killed by Tony Stewart, basically a celebrity in the racing world. Let's dive into it just a little bit more. Quote, we never wanted 10 cents of Stewart's money. We just wanted to know why Tony Stewart did what he did that night. Now see, when it comes to my personal opinion on what happened on the situation, so I like to talk about influence a lot. Now who may have influenced Kevin Ward Jr. to do what he did? Probably a guy like Tony Stewart, who kind of made it cool and trendy to get out of your car and throw helmets at cars or get mad at someone as they drive by. Now in my humble opinion, what I think Tony Stewart did is what most racers do as well. When that guy comes out onto the speedway to yell at you, you kind of rev the throttle up as you go by, you know, get away from me, blah, blah, blah. Probably still goes on, we just don't get it publicized like this event did. And it definitely went on a lot before this incident occurred. Now, where I think things went wrong is similar to a race car driver running the top side at Eldora. You know, he's aiming for the cushion, but if he misses that cushion just a little bit, he may hit the wall and flip that car and destroy his car and maybe end up getting hurt or killed himself. Now, obviously the driver who makes that mistake was aiming for one area of the track, aiming for something else, but hit the wall and made a mistake. He obviously didn't want to do that. That's exactly what I think Tony Stewart did there. He wanted to gas the engine up, scare him up a little bit, and the contact was made, and Kevin Ward Jr. was killed. Now, most people look at me and say, oh, well, you don't know anything, you don't drive these sprint cars. But if you need somebody who's, maybe a race car driver, there's this person called Jessica Zimkin who had something to say. Quote, he turned to the right and hit the throttle, which caused the tires to stand up and throw dirt and smoke from them. If he did not hit the gas, the rear of the car would have not went to the right and hit Kevin. And in her disposition, she says, he just tried to scare him, basically. Like most people out there, like most racers would say. Stewart, of course, said, I disagree with that. And see, that's where it's just insane, because the ones who are on this side that Stewart did what he had, he's trying to turn it, all this stuff, you're blinded by love for Tony Stewart, or you're just stuck in reefer madness, as they brought up here. Apparently, he was under the influence of marijuana. It was found in his system. Well, ladies and gentlemen, alcohol and marijuana, we already kind of went into detail about this. It's not the same. Marijuana stores in your system into your fat cells because your body transferred marijuana as food for thousands of years. Therefore, THC and all the chemicals within marijuana store within your fat cells, which is why it is in your system from 3 to 4 weeks and even more. So the fact that marijuana was in his system does not mean he was under the influence at all. And to add to that, the toxicology report of Ward wasn't even presented in the grand jury. Even Kevin Ward Sr. says that this was put out into the media to try to victimize Kevin. So where do I come out on the end of all this? I come out on the end of all this about where I'm beginning. This was just a mistake that was made. But nobody wants to admit it. Of course, Stewart's not going to agree with the he tried to scare him narrative, because that gives probable cause to the accusation. You have to completely deny anything. And for some crazy reason, all these people want to sit here and give every excuse in the book as to why Tony Stewart had no fault in this whole entire situation. It seems like a lot more people are concerned with getting in a line for an autograph, or maybe taking a picture, or maybe getting invited to a meet and greet dinner with their favorite driver than truth. Hypocrisy's out the board here. Stewart set the trend to get out of your car and get mad at a driver on the track. Just like he set the trend to, raise a little hell with track promoters when you don't like track conditions. So for those pro drivers who aren't out there, publicly, agreeing with this notion, or, taking Kevin Ward Jr. or his family's side on this whole ordeal. I should probably feel bad for you, because if you disagree with the dirt god of Tony Stewart, you might end up getting suspended from racing.